I'm George Simons, co-founder of SOLOSUIT, and today I'm going to show you folks in Arizona how to respond to a debt collection lawsuit. Alright, first thing you need to know, in Arizona, you only have 20 days to respond to the lawsuit, otherwise you automatically lose your case. Alright, that's 20 days. That is a tight deadline. And you start counting from the date that you were served.
Cause tonight you suckers got served.
You receive that complaint and summons, you get it served. That means you only have 20 days to respond with an answer document to defend yourself in court. Okay, there are a couple nuances here, a couple exceptions. It's actually 30 days if you're served when out of state. Like if it's a debt in Arizona but you're served and you're in Texas, you have 30 days to respond. Also, fun fact, probably won't apply to most of you, but if you are served by notice in a newspaper, you have 50 days if you're in the state or 60 days if you're out of state. If you're trying to avoid service, they can serve you by just publishing that they're suing you in a local newspaper. And are you going to hear about that? No, probably not. So best not to avoid service and just get the service and then respond to the lawsuit and win the lawsuit with the help of this video. Alright, so I'm going to go over 4 steps to respond to debt collection lawsuit in Arizona. Step number 1 is create your answer document. Step number 2, answer each item in the complaint. Step number 3, list your affirmative defenses. And step 4, file with the court and serve the plaintiff or the opposing attorney. I'm going to go over each step in detail in this video. I'm going to give you guys everything that you need to know. And just FYI, we can do all this for you. Just go over to SOLOSUIT.com. I'll just ask you a few quick questions. We'll take your answers and use that to generate your answer document for you, properly formatted, designed by professional litigation attorneys. Then we will take that answer document. We will figure out what court it needs to go to. We'll calculate the filing fee for you. There are filing fees in Arizona. We'll calculate that for you, and then we will file it for you with the court and greatly increase your chances of winning your case. All right, about 80% of all of our cases either get dismissed or settled for less. It's a pretty good track record. So you can just go over to SOLOSUIT.com and get started if you want. Either way, I'm going to go through everything you need to know in this video. Step number 1, right? First, create your answer document to the summons. All right, you know you're being sued if you receive something that looks like this. All right, this is a summons document in Arizona. It tells you that you're being sued. Here's a complaint. It tells you why you're being sued. And then first thing is you got to create an answer document, and you got to fill out the answer document with the relevant personal information and the case information. These are things like what's your name, what's the name of the person suing you, what is the name of the attorney of the person suing you, and then you got to put in like your, what's your address, the case number for the case if there's one. You got to do all stuff like that. All right. So step number 2 is you respond to all the allegations that are in the complaint document. All right. So if you're looking at the complaint, you'll notice that it has a bunch of like numbered paragraphs. Each numbered paragraph is a statement against you as the defendant, right? It's a statement the plaintiff is making against you as the defendant. And in the answer document, you respond to that statement in one of 3 ways. You can admit it, you can deny it, or you can deny for lack of knowledge. If you admit it, you're saying everything in this paragraph is true, and when you admit it, it becomes legal fact. All right, the court accepts that paragraph in its entirety if you admit it. Even if there's like something in that paragraph that you don't actually totally agree with, if you admit it, it now becomes legal fact. All right, so if a paragraph says something like, defendant's name is John Alvarez, and that is actually your name, yeah, maybe you can admit it. It probably won't be too bad. But if the paragraph says something like, defendant owes plaintiff $10,000 for account ending in last 4 digits 4659, if you admit that, you're going to lose your case. Right? Because you've just admitted what the whole case is about. You just admitted that you owe this debt. But you might say, how do I not admit that if it is like true? You're like, yeah, I do owe Discover Bank like $10,000 on credit card debt. Well, a few things, right? For example, in the paragraph, if it says something like that, if it just gives the last 4 digits of the account number, it doesn't give you the entire account number, does it? How do you know that it's your account? Are you just going to trust the person that's suing you? No, you're not going to trust them, and you shouldn't trust them. Instead of doing that, what you can do, you can deny the paragraph. A lot of attorneys recommend, oftentimes, it's important to remember I'm not an attorney. I don't give legal advice. This is just like legal information. And denying the paragraph is basically saying I refuse to admit the paragraph. Or in other words, it's saying I want the person suing me to prove that this paragraph is true. You can also, if you're feeling really just indecisive, you can just say deny for lack of knowledge. It's basically the equivalent of saying I don't know if this paragraph is true. I don't have enough information. Alright, so that's like a pretty good choice. Really nothing wrong with saying that. Step number trace is list affirmative defenses if applicable. Alright, affirmative defenses, this is a fancy word for saying defenses, alright? Everybody has a defense to make. It's basically all the reasons why the judge should make you win the case. Some of these defenses are you don't owe the money. Great defense. You're not the owner or the co-signer of the account. Again, it's not your debt. That's great. The contract was canceled. Great. You have the proof that the debt was paid. So let's say you're suing you for $5,000. You actually paid that $5,000 off like 5 years ago. And they just keep bad records. Happens all the time, especially with hospitals. Really bad at keeping records and finding out who actually owes that money. You're the victim of identity theft, or the statute of limitations has expired. People love talking about the statute of limitations. Oftentimes it does apply. People hear about it. People always look it up. So we're going to talk about it right here in this video.
Right here, right now, right here, right now.
Statute of limitations in Arizona. Here we go. First, what is a statute of limitations? Statute of limitations is literally a statute that limits the period of time that somebody can take an action against you. In this case, the period of time that somebody can sue you for a debt. The statute of limitations for Arizona is laid out in Arizona Revised Statutes, Section 12-548 and -543. Alright, so if you want to sound real smart, just tell your friends, oh, it's because of statute of limitations, Section 12-548. That is bound to impress at least one person. What are the statutes of limitations? For an oral debt, limit is 3 years. Oral debt's like something you agree to, but it's not in writing. A written debt is something that's in a contract. Statute of limitations is 6 years. Credit card debt, 6 years. That's for like Master, Visa card, Discover, American Express. You know the drill. Mortgages have a statute of limitations of 6 years. Court judgments, 4 years. You might say, hey, what's a court judgment? Court judgment is what happens when you lose your case and then the collector now has a judgment against you and they can come after you for the next 4 years. So again, the statute of limitations is the deadline that somebody can sue you, essentially. If the last payment that you made on an account was 10 years ago on a mortgage and somebody comes after you and tries to sue you, you can say, no, sorry, you can't sue me anymore because the statute of limitations on mortgages is 6 years. It's something important to keep in mind, right? The statute of limitations, if it's expired, doesn't mean that somebody can't sue you. It means that you can bring up that defense if someone does sue you. Okay, so if somebody sues you, again, for a mortgage that was 10 years ago, statute of limitations is only 6 years, it's 4 years past that deadline, you still have to respond. If you don't respond, you'll just lose, okay? Nobody is counting this for you. The judge is not a referee. The judge probably isn't even your friend. It is up to you to bring up this defense in your answer document and possibly bring up a motion to dismiss the case because the statute of limitations is expired. You might say, oh, how do I do that? Well, we will take care of it for you at SOLOSUIT. I just answer some basic questions and we insert the proper legal language for you into the document. Step 4. File with the court and serve the opposing attorney. To do this, you got to print 2 copies of your answer document. You have to send one to the court and one to the opposing attorney. Sometimes it gets a little vague. You don't actually serve the plaintiff, you're serving the plaintiff's attorney. The plaintiff might be Discover Bank. The attorney might be some guy in Scottsdale. All the attorneys are living in Scottsdale, right, in Arizona. So it might be some guy in Scottsdale, and you have to serve that guy, email the document to that guy, not to Discover Bank, which is like headquarters in New York or something. It gets a little bit tricky in Arizona. Next up, you have to calculate and pay the filing fee for your answer. Yeah, that is right. Arizona courts charge a filing fee just to respond to a debt lawsuit. Sounds pretty outrageous, doesn't it? Well, that's because it is outrageous. Unfortunately, SOLOSUIT isn't the courts. So it's up to them to do what they want. And they charge you a filing fee. And that filing fee ranges from, wait for it, $40 up to $245. Yeah. So if you're sued for a debt that you might not even owe in Arizona, you have to pay the court $245 just to not lose your case automatically. If you think that's a problem, maybe write to someone. I don't know, maybe a congressman, maybe the judges in Arizona, maybe the senator, maybe the governor, I don't know. When you mail it out to the opposing attorney, oftentimes the address for the opposing attorney is on the summons and complaint. You might have a hard time finding the address for the court, usually because that's the court doesn't find it relevant to list their address on the court documents oftentimes. So oftentimes it's super hard to find the address that you need to mail the document to. Filing is not easy, right? So you gotta have a printer to print the documents, you gotta have paper, you gotta have ink to print it all, or toner, all right, if you have a fancy laser jet. And then you have to find out what your filing fee is, you have to calculate it, and then you have to go to the post office, you have to wait in line at the post office. All right, all of this is actually possibly the hardest part of the entire experience. So again, you can pay SOLOSUIT to take care of this for you. We are professionals, we do it all the time. That's literally all we do, is just file documents for people all the time. All right, so you can go over to SOLOSUIT.com and have us do it for you. Either way, we are rooting for you, and we hope you win your case. Just a little fun fact for everybody who is still watching this video at this point. I used to live in Arizona. I used to live in Mesa. Worked for a company called a nonprofit called Anasazi Foundation. It's a beard growing institute where it's just about dudes growing big beards. You get paid more for the bigger your beard is. It's not that at all. It is actually a wilderness therapy program for youth and adults who just want to hang out in the desert. Dodge rattlesnakes, dodge saguaro cacti, as well as the cholla. Go through super icy cold rivers, hang out, camp without any mattresses or anything, cook over the fire. Honestly, what Anasazi actually is sounds more outrageous than my joke about it being a beard institute. Honestly, if you're in Arizona, you see some dudes with big old beards might be working for Anasazi. Might be called Anasazi trail walkers. All right, so just keep your eyes open for that if you're out there in the Mesa area. So just a little fun fact. There we go. We're rooting for you guys. Hope you win.